Okay, now I think that I can begin. Welcome everyone. I think we already just accustomed with this all webinars, and today I am again having the pleasure and honor to moderate this session because another close friends of mine, but at the same time colleague with several NGO issues and with so many different meetings is here. That's why you are seeing me for the second time as the moderator. And actually, it is my pleasure because we are already having these conversations and other stuff with Lisa for a long time. But after she met with KADEM also and with all the other members, we couldn't, let's say, let go Lisa to, without giving us his experience, her experiences and all the technology related practices and all the knowledge she got so far. That's why we are having Lisa Brunet today. Maybe I can just introduce her a bit, and then she will be presenting the, let's say, the seminar today. Actually, she is the DLCP Group CEO and co-founder. And this, let's say, actually, this company is doing so many different services and different kind of consultancy issues with information technology and service industry. But this is not the, let's say, only thing that she has been in this business area, but she is also very much engaged with a non-profit organization, NGOs, team building, management, and business development. That's why Lisa is using the LCP for different instrumental reasons to support gender equality. Actually, this was the reason that we met for the first time actually in Lisbon. And it was a gender summit, a women summit. That's why she's already engaged with technology, but so many different aspects of women's rights and gender issues. At the same time, she is an active member of different communities. She is a Johnson Space Center Small Business Council board member. And also, she co-produced the Houston Maker Fair the past 3 years. And also, she is committee members and she is board members in different NGOs like U.S. Women's Chamber of Commerce and also U.S. Pan-Asian American Chamber of Commerce as well. And I guess very recently she got let's say, winning first place in the Founders First 2024 so-called Fast Pot Pitch competition. And the LCP group has been found as a very promising and very important company. And now we are making her to speak about AI again with ethical issues because actually we have been, as you know, this is the sixth one. If I am not wrong, this is the sixth one that we are having the webinars. And so far we are even discussing that what kind of personal characters AI can have, like just it can fall in love or not, or are there any basic things that why we are a bit fearful from AI, or the law-based part and different parts we just spoke. But again, we came to the ethical points. Why? Because actually, I think we are already having so many concerns about the future and ethical issues. That's why Lisa will be giving a very different insight for us with the title Ethical Horizons Navigating the Future of AI today. And Lisa, this is your turn. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you very much for your presentation, like from the beginning, actually.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I am very happy to be here to support you and your initiatives. Sure. Okay, I believe everyone can see my screen, correct?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, great. So today, as she mentioned, I'm going to be talking about navigating the future of artificial intelligence. Before we dig too deep into this, I'm going to start with the 5 ethical principles of responsible AI. It seems like everyone has their own principles or pillars for responsible AI, while there are a lot of overlap and general consensus is the same human ethics play a role in how AI will be used in the future. For today's discussion, I followed the USA's Department of Defense 5 principles of artificial intelligence ethics. They created this in 2020, where they laid the foundation for ethical design, development, deployment, and use of AI. Part of the reason why I chose the United States Department of Defense is because they set the foundations of security and the future trends of technology that will be governed by the whole United States government. Responsible AI is about ethically creating artificial intelligence, ensuring its outcomes are fair, transparent, and beneficial to society. It involves avoiding biases, addressing discrimination, and ensuring transparency in AI's decisions. AI must be accessible to everyone, and its long-term social and environmental impacts must be considered. Security and privacy are paramount, requiring safeguards and secure data handling. AI systems require human oversight for decision-making support, not replacement. They should be regulated, monitored, and continuously evaluated for effectiveness and safety to adapting to new AI technologies. In creating an equitable AI system, it is essential to minimize intentional and unintentional biases, which can stem from data sources, design choices, or algorithm development. It's crucial to reduce biases by gathering data from varied sources and using diverse teams for data annotations coupled with regular audits. Employ bias detection tools, maintain transparency in algorithm development, and ensure models are fair across different demographic groups with human oversight. Continuously monitor, assess, and update systems post-launch. Follow ethical guidelines and anti-discrimination laws. Create diverse and bias-aware teams, and engage stakeholders and the public in understanding AI technologies and their biases. This approach helps mitigate biases and enhances fairness in AI systems. Traceable AI capabilities establish a transparent framework for documentation and accountability in all aspects of AI development. This includes creating auditable methods for transparency, providing necessary training for understanding, and implementing effective data management. Governance and compliance measures are essential to hold the AI system and its development accountable. Governable AI involves designing AI systems with mechanisms to detect and manage unintended consequences, ensuring control and oversight. This requires a flexible, modular design and continuous monitoring with automated alerts. Testing and post-deployment reviews are crucial. Ethical reviews and standards and continuous training are also necessary for success. So the last one of the DoD standards is reliable. Ensuring the reliability of an AI system is crucial for the safe and effective performance throughout their entire life cycle. AI capabilities must have well-defined purposes and undergo rigorous testing to meet the safety, security, and performance standards. Clear use cases with defined scope and limitations and comprehensive documentation are essential to achieve this. Safety and stress testing, security assurances, performance evaluation, and real-world testing are imperative. Regularly updated lifecycle management processes, proper data handling during decommissioning, and transparent record keeping are key factors in guaranteeing dependable AI. Additionally, incorporating third-party reviews into your compliance and standard policy adds an extra layer of assurance. Now we're going to talk about some of the statistics of how AI it affects the gender bias. So these are just some standard statistics. As we are all aware, there has always been gender bias in the professional workforce. But did you know that 30% of professionals in the AI workforce are women? That means 70% are men, while only 27.6% of technology workforce are women. And only 25% of C-suite positions are women. And only 10% of women account for CEO roles in Fortune 500 companies. This is a huge disparity between men and women, and this is part of what needs to be changed in order for us to have gender equality. Berkeley has Center for Equity, Gender, and Leadership track publicly available instances of bias in AI systems using machine learning. Their analysis of approximately 133 biased systems across industries found that 42%, or 59 of the systems, demonstrated gender bias, while 25.7%, or 34 of the systems, demonstrated both gender and racial bias. There are 6 primary impacts of gender bias in the systems. In the Berkeley analysis of the 59 systems that exhibited gender bias, 70% resulted in lower quality of service for women and non-binary individuals. The first one we're going to talk to is voice recognition systems. Have you ever had to call a customer service line? Have you gotten frustrated because when you call, no matter how you say the answer, it doesn't recognize it? Now it's rare nowadays to call a company and actually speak with a human on the first ring. Typically, you have to go through an automated system, and in these automated systems, before you used to be able to hit a button. Now you have to speak your answers. The voice recognition systems that are designed to listen to the pitch of your voice. So since females and males have different pitches, and this is based off of males' pitches, typically a female's voice does not get recognized. So that is why women typically, their answers are not recognized by the platform. An example for hiring software. A man and a woman both see an ad for a job for AI. The ad states that you must have 5 years of experience developing AI and a master's degree in AI. The woman has the master's degree, but is short the 5 years experience by 2 months. In comparison, the man has a bachelor's degree in liberal arts and 3 years of experience in AI. Who do you think is going to apply for the job? I bet you most of you thought it would be a man. It would be a woman. When in fact, the woman won't apply because she takes the job listing literal, and she will not apply because she does not have the 5 years experience. Why the guy's like, well, it's a rough estimate. I'm going to apply anyways. This is the same criteria that recruiting, WOD ads, and skill sets have been developed into current hiring softwares. So women applications are not getting priority. They're being put down on the bottom of the list. Of the systems analyzed by Berkeley Haas Center, identified with gender bias was 61% of the systems. In English, we do not tie gender to titles or specific terms. When people typically say the doctor will be right with you or the president will speak in a few minutes, you do not know if it's a man or a woman. But what do you envision when someone says that? That's the same, sorry. That is what happens, is we already stereotype that typically if it's a president or a doctor, it's a man. That's the same as what the translation software does. The software typically will take the doctor and translate it into Spanish as el doctor, or the president to el presidente. Both of those are the male version, not the female version. There's no option for that. The Berkeley Haas Center analysts found that 28% of the systems reinforce existing harmful stereotypes and prejudices. In 2020, Robert Williams, a Black father in a suburban Detroit neighborhood, was mistakenly identified through facial recognition technology for stealing 5 watches from a store in Detroit. This resulted in him spending 30 hours in jail for a crime he didn't commit. Facial recognition technology is close to 99% accuracy for white men, while for Black women, the accuracy is only at 33%. The Berkeley Haas Center found that 6.8% of the AI systems resulted in derogatory and offensive treatments or erasure of already marginalized gender identities. So I'm going to give you an example of a woman going for a healthcare system. A woman goes into the hospital showing the following symptoms: pain in the neck and the jaw, shortness of breath, and nausea. According to the health system, her symptoms are not typical symptoms of a heart attack, and she is released and sent home. The healthcare system has AI built in, but it only lists the symptoms for a heart attack, such as crushing chest pain and left arm pain, which is typical for a man and not a woman. The Berkeley Haas Center found that 18.8% of the gender bias systems they analyzed had detriments of physical safety. Historically, clinical trials have been more geared toward men than women. The data collected from men is generalized for women. That means they do a clinical trial for a new drug coming out, but they only take into account men. They'll then take that data and say, well, we'll just add a little bit of variable for women, when in fact, women's DNA versus a man is totally different. The reason they choose men over women for clinical trials is because men do not have a menstrual cycle and they will not get pregnant. So according to the Berkeley Haas Center, and 3.42% of the systems they evaluated showed health hazards. Now we're going to talk about where AI gender bias comes from. Humans build the AI platforms we use today. These are the same humans that have created the gender bias in general. So I want to share an event of gender bias that I experienced myself. I attended a networking event that my partner sponsored. It was an exclusive event. It was the event that everybody wanted to go to. I brought 2 of my employees, 1 male and 1 female. Shortly after we arrive, the CEO comes over to introduce himself, but he walks right past me to introduce himself to my Caucasian male employee. My employee was kind of in shock. He's like, wait a sec, what's going on? He goes, I'd like to introduce you to Lisa. She is the DLZP CEO and founder. The CEO comes over to me and apologizes. But yet, when he brings his executive team over, he goes and speaks to my male colleague again. So as you can imagine, I no longer do business with them. "70% of teams developing the AI system are male. They shape the development and algorithms. This creates the bias in the AI system from the beginning." Humans create and organize data in collections called data sets, which are then used to make predictions. However, these processes can introduce biases. For example, a company is developing a new fitness app and uses data sets primarily consisting of data from young urban men. This data set influences the app's features and recommendations, such as exercise routines and dietary suggestions, which may be ineffective and irrelevant to women and older adults or rural populations. Consequently, the app might suggest too intense workouts for some users and ignore dietary needs specific for different demographic groups, reflecting biases rooted in the initial data set. Another example is there's a significantly fewer women than men who use the internet on their phones, especially in low-income countries where women are about 20% less likely to own a smartphone. This gap affects the data we collect and use. In healthcare, there's a similar issue. Many clinical trials, as I mentioned earlier, include men. That means the data does not represent women accurately. Data isn't always separated by gender, which can hide important differences between men and women. Also, there are not many clinical trials for women's health issues, but there are many for men's health issues. Even when efforts are made to address these issues, the data still reflects the existing biases in society. AI systems can be biased against women, leading to unfair results and reinforcing existing inequalities. This bias can show up at different stages of creating AI, affecting areas like job recruiting, lending money, healthcare, and law enforcement. It's important to recognize how this bias works and find ways to fix it to ensure technology is fair to everyone. One big problem is that women need to be included more in the data used to train AI, which can cause the systems to misjudge or not work well for women. The people who create AI systems can also introduce bias through their choices about how the AI works and what focuses on. For an example, an online tech hiring platform developed an AI assistant to help employers rank candidates for programming jobs. Not only they screen the information gleaned from traditional resources such as resumes, but they also use a proxy called social data. This is data generated by actions in digital realm to measure how integral the candidate was to the digital community. In this case, social data was drawn from time spent sharing and developing code on platforms like GitHub. However, factors such as the societal expectations around unpaid care, which women tend to bear, translated to women having less time to chat online. Women therefore were deemed less productive. Often, the way we measure AI systems performance does not fully account for how it affects different genders. A system might do well overall, but still can be unfair to women if it doesn't look closely at how its decisions impact specifically. Another issue we have is the word embedding. The way certain words are encoded into the machine learning to reflect their meaning and association with other words, which leads to bias when the data associates certain things with males and females, such as a doctor is a male and a nurse is a female. The consequences of bias against women in AI can be serious, leading to discrimination and unfair treatment in many areas. To fix this, we need a thorough approach that includes gathering diverse data, ensuring fairness in algorithms, having human checks on AI decisions, and being transparent about how these systems work. By working together and continuing to study these issues, we can develop an AI that supports fairness and gender equality. I'm going to talk about an artist from Turkey. Beyza shared her story during an interview with the UN Women. She is an artist from Turkey who is researching a novel. For her research, she decided to try generative AI. She prompted the Gen AI platform to write a story about a doctor and a nurse. The Gen AI created the contents with images, making the doctor male and the nurse female. She gave it more and more prompts, and it kept giving her the same gender stereotypical roles for each character. After a while, she was frustrated, and she asked the AI about gender bias and why it exhibited. And the AI explained that it had been trained on data, specifically word embedding. That means that specific words were put into the code for the Gen AI. So no matter how many times she asked a question or how she asked a question, it would always show a male as the doctor, not a female. This all might sound disheartening, but combating gender discrimination when it's embedded in every aspect of AI might seem impossible. However, researchers and AI engineers are developing policies and practices to address these inequalities. Now that the issue of gender discrimination in AI has been gaining traction, developers are becoming more conscious of gender impact of AI. Many have switched to using what they call human-centered AI approach instead of the simple generative AI. What's the difference? Human-centered approach takes into account the human input, language, emotion, and behavior. This includes being sensitive to gender bias that exists in society and the data it's trained on and trying to course correct. As an example of this is using a fundamental rights impact assessment typically used to identify biases in the output of algorithms. This assessment is simple protocol for developers to ensure the algorithms are not biased. It's supported by the European Union Agency for Fundamental Rights, which states that in order to eliminate any form of discrimination, it is necessary for algorithms to be audited using discrimination testing or situation testing in real-life scenarios. The European Parliament has even taken policy action. In 2017, it adopted a resolution outlining a framework to address all the different biases resulting from the use of technology, including the discrimination caused by algorithms. Researchers, engineers, and developers are working on ways to address and account for the gender discrimination embedded in AI. It's a good start. However, more needs to be done if we truly want to solve the issue and create an equitable future of AI. So, what needs to be done to solve this problem? The biggest goal is to create global policies about AI that mitigate and prevent gender discrimination. Global governance has not really focused on the risk of AI, because it has a new emerging technology. But this must be done to ensure AI does not continue to perpetuate gender biases. To truly address gender discrimination in AI, it's imperative to collaborate between technology companies that are developing the AI and academia that's researching the AI and its implications. Governments passing policies regarding AI and communities and advocacy groups directly affected by the AI as well. By working together, all these stakeholders can develop and enforce standards that promote gender equality and prevent bias in AI systems. Moreover, as these AI ethics frameworks are being developed, diverse perspectives must be included to address all aspects of gender discrimination. This means involving ethics, policymakers, gender experts, so they can work together to share their unique perspectives to help shape guidelines that promote gender equality and prevent discriminatory practices in AI systems. Those collaborative efforts need to be done on a global scale, but action can also be taken on a smaller scale. As mentioned before, there are 3 big points of discrimination regarding AI: the creation of the system, the data used, and the algorithms. Action can be taken to mitigate discrimination at every single one of these points. Okay. As the AI industry continues to develop, it's important to ensure that these opportunities are accessible to all genders. Encouraging gender diversity in this field allows different perspectives to be involved when creating AI technology, helping to integrate gender expertise into the AI system. Sorry, that was supposed to be for the slide. As AI continues to evolve, using diverse and representative data sets is important. Future machine learning models will benefit from data sets that are more inclusive of all genders, reducing the risk of reinforcing existing biases and stereotypes. An example is the organization Digital Democracy, which worked with the Commission of Women Victims for Victims to help collect gender-based violence data to ensure they were represented in data sets. Work like this is important because it ensures that data sets used to train AI are comprehensive and represent as many people and perspectives as possible to prevent inbuilt bias. Future AI models are likely to incorporate more advanced techniques for detecting and mitigating bias. As mentioned before, advanced algorithms could be used to identify and correct biases in training data, ensuring the AI systems do not perpetuate gender stereotypes. Algorithms can also be designed in a way that recognizes when their output is biased and corrects the course. It is not enough to focus only on these aspects. We must instead work on combating gender bias in every way we can. On a more individual level, there are things that you can do to help combat gender discrimination in this field. You can lend your expertise to the field of gender equitable AI, advocate for AI literacy training, make your voice heard. This starts with attending and organizing sessions, workshops on gender AI like this. Ensuring people working with AI are informed of these issues is the first step in creating a more equitable future. The next step is to recognize that the data and algorithms you may be using can be biased and take steps to rectify it. Ensure that your AI teams are diverse. Look over the data you are using to train your AI technology and make sure it's comprehensive. And when advocating to gender-sensitive practices and policies, center marginalized voices. Make sure every perspective is being heard, because that's the only way to ensure a bias-free future. In conclusion, AI is seen as the big next thing in technology that could change our lives in many ways. However, to ensure this change benefits everyone fairly, we need to discuss the ethics of AI seriously. This means discussing issues like bias in AI systems and figuring out how to improve things for everyone. One major issue is that women have not been well represented in data used for training AI, which can lead these systems to make mistakes when dealing with women's issues or needs. When people create AI, the choices can lead to unfair outcomes. For an example, how they choose what data to use, how they frame the problem and decide if the model is working, can all create biases related to gender. Sometimes how we measure how well an AI system is doing doesn't reflect how it affects women specifically. A model is designed to be accurate overall and might still leave women behind if it doesn't consider their experiences. This bias against women in AI can be harmful, leading to unfair treatment in various areas like jobs, healthcare, and more. To fix this, we need a detailed approach that includes collecting diverse data, ensuring fairness in algorithms, having human oversight, promoting transparency, and establishing ethical and regulatory guidelines. By doing this and encouraging ongoing research and teamwork, we can aim to create AI systems that treat everyone fairly and promote gender equality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Actually, we thank you for this very detailed, and I mean, for me, very sociological in so many ways as well. But it's also good to have as a package that suggestions what we can do. Yeah, and at least that's how it can be done, because you know me already, and I am also as a sociologist and anthropologist having much concerns about the future or about the ethical issues. But I think you also underline these concerns, but at the same time try to give certain suggestions which can be possibly done together in a kind of collaboration mostly. But still, we have several questions, challenging questions as well. Here, I have a list as well. How we can just maybe discuss this. But I already have, but I am always keeping mine at the end because the audience is first. Actually, I can go from like certain problematical discussions to the much more hopeful ones, because you already just showed that by statistics and by certain reality that there is a conveying from social understanding and norms to the AI production itself, statistics itself. Uh, but then the solution in, let's say, AI cannot be enough. I mean, how we can just transfer or like reflect this concerns to the society, because maybe nowadays you know that AI is everywhere and everybody is using it in a certain way. Should we convey to the society in a certain public engagement or public concern, or how we can do this? This is the first question actually I can ask. And then if this is much more yes or much more positive for let's say take, how can the public be educated or trained or engaged with this importance of gender aware in AI, or much more inclusiveness in AI, or non-discriminatory AI, as you said, human-centered AI?
Right. So the big challenge we have right now is unless we work, since most of the developers that work on AI, that take the data sets, program the AI, do the testing, and produce it to the general public, they're predominantly males. So we need one to educate more women to get into this. But what we also need to do is talk with the men, make sure that they understand what they're doing, because they're not doing it, most of them are not doing it purposeful.
Yeah,
They're doing it by accident. So even because I own a technology company, and some of my employees, they did not understand what I was saying. They were shocked when I said I face discrimination all the time, that people don't think I'm the CEO because I'm a female. How could a female run a technology company? So the example I gave of how my one employee, he's older, he's an older gentleman who was shocked. He was horrified that someone did that. He was just like, I've never seen anything like that in my 40 years of being in business. And I was like, that's because you weren't paying attention before. It wasn't relevant. But now that I'm your boss and I pointed it out to you, you're more aware of it. So since then, he's made more of a conscious effort because he saw it firsthand of how it affects everybody.
mm-hmm.
So that's where we have to start.
Okay, I mean, not even like structured kind of educations or training programs, but try to explain and share the experience and try to make them understand that, as you said, this was never their concern because they are not confronting for their own personal, let's say, existence. At the same time, they are not maybe taking, paying attention how many people are discriminated or like women are discriminated. That's why maybe speaking is important. But okay, much more controversial discussion as well. Do you think that there are also women doing this?
I
Uh,
think so,
yeah.
because if you think about it, women have grown up in a male-dominated society.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on which country you grow up, it's even more prevalent. So they are just doing what that they've seen their whole lives. They are not thinking that maybe things should change.
Okay, I mean that's why actually, of course, we will begin to have the education and technology development or in AI development for women, but maybe it will not be enough to have more women in AI. Am I right? I mean, this is that what you are saying as far as I got. Ex-
Right.
yeah.
Yes. So I mean we do need more women in AI, but we also need women in general to not always think, you know, they go to the doctor and go, "Oh yeah, it's okay. That's just how it goes." They can't accept that as a norm. They have to push back and question it more. But women are not always used to doing that. They're used to just saying, trusting their doctor's opinion and going with it. And that's the same with everybody in every case. They have to think, well, why am I being treated differently?
Yes. And do you think that AI will be, I mean, I am trying to convince myself and maybe convince some people that, I mean, why we should, as academics, you were saying, and it was nice for me to hear this, and your suggestions was so structured and important, why the technology makers, engineers, academicians should pay so many work and labor on this issue that AI should be more less biased or less discriminatory, less inclusive. Can we say that? I mean, if it will be much more human centered, I just like the actually terminology. If it will be much more human centered, can we say that? I know that AI is presented as promising for so many reasons. But can we say that AI will be promising for a more ethical or more just-based world? I am asking so many big questions, but yeah, what do you think?
It can be if, and that's why I mentioned that everybody needs to get together to create the policies, just like everything else. You know, that's why the UN is around. That's why the G20 happens. It's where the world leaders come together, not just from one, just not from politics, but all of them come together to talk, to brainstorm, to see what the best scenario is. Because what happens in the US versus Turkey is totally different. And we have to be conscious of that. We have to be conscious of everybody's culture and how that affects AI.
Yeah, actually, then I mean, I was asking this question, and I am also trying to do in my job as well, that then AI can be trained to be more ethical or
Yes.
use it for much more ethical reasons. But then you already opened the discussion about states, nation states. Actually, it was very nice for me to again underline the fact that actually the 6 points that you were giving about face recognition or let's say the other practical let's say failed version of AI discussions, that how it should be modified or maybe developed in so many ways. But when it is coming to do like translation or other stuff, we can know that it is based on context, because culture is also matters there. There are different things in Turkey and US, as you said. Uh, but in the beginning, you are beginning with this US ethical defense law things. And we know that in the world as well, there are technological big hegemonies about these issues. How do you think this ethical macro level that in macro level, the some technological giant hegemonies will play a role? I mean, because I actually, when you were reading, I actually like the way that US law is like showing AI should be practicing in this way, but we cannot see that in practice. This is going on in the way that they are describing. But at the same time, for this hegemonical, let's say, countries, I am a bit concerned. But at the same time, for other countries as well. Yeah, I mean, can they use it for their own interest, and how it can be prevented? Can it be prevented? I don't know. What do you think the role of the states here? And maybe that's why you were saying globally kind of engaged, maybe NGO based things. But what do you think about the state role?
So, I mean, and that's the interesting thing is because most people go to ChatGPT. That's the first generative AI tool they go to.
Yeah,
Even though there's other ones out there, that's the most common one. And just like Google, Google has a different one for every single country they're in.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, if we want to break it down by the country, that's easy. Where ChatGPT could technically create one just for Turkey based on the foundations of Turkey's culture, their ethics, and
Mm-hmm.
what the government sees fit. You know, it's just like how the GDRP has certain rules, and that's for
Yeah.
you. You know, that's not for the world, that's just for them. So it's the same concept of everybody building their own, but then there should be, it doesn't have to be so stringent where it's too confining where people cannot abide by them, but more of a general basic foundation that we maybe every country signs a pledge that we follow the basics like ethical, there's responsibility, you know, and there's governance, you know, where it's just the overlay, but then each country can set up a more specific one for their specific country.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, then do you think that yeah, certain kind of let's say countries can use it for different reasons and utilize it for different reasons on other countries or other states levels? I mean, in this way, or this contextualization will help to see that what are the differences, and that's why maybe prevent the countries or the other states to keep their own understanding about AI.
Well, so if I understand correctly, you're asking if, say that there's a chat GDP specifically for Turkey, if it can be used in while you're in a different country?
No, no, I was saying
No.
that when you are thinking about this, you were mentioning it. I mean, the information makers or the main technology makers are coming USA or coming certain kind of dominant technology companies. Do you think that it can be used by them for different unethical reasons, or how the other states or how other like countries can use their own understanding about AI? Because you know that even from the beginning, the all applications are also governed with certain kind of technologies and infrastructure technologies, let's say. I mean, can it be used, or AI is having the maneuver space that every context can create their own understanding?
So unfortunately, I think no matter how you do it, there's always gray areas.
Yeah,
So
that's
people
right.
are
Yeah.
going to always step outside the box. They're going to push the boundaries as far as they can before they get in trouble. And that's the same for all the corporations. You know, if you think about when you type in any search, all the data is going in. So I'm sure you may even be like, "Oh, I want to take a trip. I'm looking at this airline." Next thing you know, your phone's blowing up with ads for that airline, the sales that they're having, the destination.
Yes.
And it's because your phone's technically listening to everything you're saying.
Yeah.
Technically, it should not be because that's a violation of your rights. And who
Yeah.
is actually getting that data, because it's not just technically on your phone, it's going back to the company. And if the company gets subpoenaed, they technically have to share that data with the government.
Yeah, I mean, this was exactly what I want to like hear, because this is in micro level practices that you are sharing the data and it can be used for, I don't know, commercial reasons, for different reasons. And I mean, that's why having my basis for actually the ethical concerns. But again, with the hope, I want to like ask the last two questions that um still, if we have still these concerns, can we think that we can utilize AI? Okay, first we have to, I think, let's say, work on the think that it must be just less gender biased or less discriminatory, etc. But at the same time, can we think that AI can be used or utilized to promote gender equality, such as in healthcare, education, employment, or other stuff? Maybe after these modifications, or even to now, that can be, AI be a kind of tool for this, for the future?
Yes, it can. It definitely can. It's just a matter of making sure that the foundation's created properly.
Okay, I mean, as we discussed so far, actually.
Yes.
And then, do you have any successful implementation of gender aware AI in different sectors, or any thing that you know? I mean, good examples, successful implementations and examples.
I mean, not that's public. So we're
Uh-huh.
actually building a whole platform that's a web app ERP that has the AI built in and it
Okay.
has the generative AI. And we actually are training it so it knows that it doesn't use it's got to be G rated.
Mm-hmm.
The content will be based on the prompts that we give it, will pull out the data it needs to. So if it will ask you also if you say doctor, if you don't say my doctor is a male or my doctor is a female, it's going to keep it as a general term. It won't actually say your doctor is a male. It'll just keep it more generalized.
Okay.
And we purposely have been doing it that way because one, I'm the owner of the company. So I want
Yeah,
to make sure
it
it
should
says
be in this way. Yeah, I know how you are working and managing. Yeah.
so, I mean, and I know there's other people doing that as well. I just don't know if any of them are doing it where they released it publicly yet. Like we've collaborated with other companies to help them as well to kind of rule out the gender bias.
Okay. I mean, then there can be more examples and more good implementation or good examples in the future. Because, I mean, when we are coming to your company and I know that from the beginning for the last, how many years? I mean, 3 years we are knowing each other. I know that you are always trying to make it inclusive, culture sensitive, or context sensitive. Gender equality is so much important as well. But you are also saying that there are more companies trying to maybe do this in technologies as well. But another question, maybe not related with gender, but with the intersectionality of ethical issues, that I think you have been discriminated in terms of gender issues, but at the same time, sometimes, I mean, racially or ethnically or different kind of things. I mean, do you think that the gender bias modifications in AI should be taken holistically, or how we can do this together? Because you know that, as you were giving the example of black male or black female, I mean, how it is actually white based kind of, okay, first man and then white man, and like these are all coming together. How we can just holistically teach or train AI about these issues? I mean, are you working on this as well?
Yes. So that, like, I don't know, there was a study, there was an article published, I think it was in 2020. It was about something that happened in like 2017. Amazon was building a facial recognition,
Yeah.
and it looked at Oprah Winfrey and thought she was a white man. So, as you know, Oprah Winfrey is not a man and she's not white. So right away they scrapped it. But then they were doing something for building an HR platform, and they did some beta testing, and they realized that it was prioritizing men over women, and
Uh-huh.
they were looking at different ethnical groups as well, and then they decided it's not going the route that they wanted, so they scrapped that as well. So
Mm.
there's many companies that are looking at it from the ethical point of view, where they're looking at not just gender but racial issues as well.
Yeah.
um, so I mean, I think the more and more that ESG requirements and SDG requirements come into effect, more and more companies will take this into consideration when they're building their AI platforms. Because for recruiting, if your platform is only giving you white men, you're gonna fail your ESG reporting.
Yeah. Yeah. I got it.
So I think that it's going to happen, and it's going to be a slow journey. It's not going to be something that happens overnight.
Hmm. But there are certain hopeful kind of, let's say, implementations or trials to do this, I guess. Okay,
Yes.
because, I mean, what is coming to my mind was at the same time, I mean, when we are saying intersectionality, race, etc., but also religion. I mean, what it is about veiling, for example, this was coming to my mind, that I mean, because there are different veilings, and sometimes you can recognize that it's a woman, but sometimes not, when you think about Indian culture, for example. But at the same time, if the AI is gender biased, it can be, let's say, religious biased as well, or etc. These are also very important discussions. I think we can just make it more in summits, because as you know that this is already the preparation seminars we have for the summit, and you will be in the first panel in the summit. Actually, we can also present it from here, that in the coming November, we will see you again face to face in Istanbul in the summit, hopefully. Thank you very much, Lisa. It was a great discussion for me as well. Do you have any other things to say? I mean, you can say, and we can just finish the session.
Thank you for inviting me to do this talk. I really appreciate the opportunity. I'm hoping that some people got some benefit out of it. I know it's a broad subject, and I could have probably talked quite a bit, but I didn't want to go too far off topic in any which way.
Okay, I mean, it was great actually for me as well, because that's why these preparation seminars are here, that we don't know so much. We have concerns, but we don't know so much. thank you very much. It was my big pleasure to have you here and see you in November face to face, actually. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
For
Okay.
everyone, thank you to join us, and we will be having more seminars for you until November. Thank you,
Okay.
Betty. Hocam. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.